Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to SA Accounting Academy. Here's a short clip on one of our previous webinars. I hope that you really do enjoy it.
Third session in the series. The last session will be coming up, and that will be professional citizenship, which is always a bit of a different way of looking at life. Today is more a classic ethics session. It's a session that you are more comfortable with, that you're more used to. This one is sort of hitting the textbooks a bit more, hitting the standards and hitting what we are familiar with and looks familiar to us in an ethics space. And it's hopefully bringing together what we've discussed in the last three sessions, because what we've discussed in the last three sessions really sets the environment. And I'm hoping that your personal ethics and your professional ethics sort of have set the scene for you to be able to exercise your professional ethics. At the same time, your business ethics need to align with your professional ethics so that how we do business, how we interact with our clients, how we interact with our staff, the type of clients we take on, the type of engagements we take on, the promises we make are still aligned with our professional ethics. So we'll always have this tension between being commercial, in other words, being in business ourselves, and being professionals. And it's a conversation, strangely enough, I have time and time again around the coffee pot and live training, where it comes out to me that practitioners often forget we run a business. We're so focused on being in practice and being a professional that sometimes we have to remind ourselves to do what we preach. So we have to remind ourselves that we are actually in practice, but we run a business. And there's tension between those two because we are not normal business people that are running a retail shop or doing manufacture or got whatever it is that we might be doing. We have constraints on our business model because of being a professional. So we're going to look at those constraints now in terms of the code of conduct. I'm going to work with the IFAC code of conduct. And the reason I'm doing that is that the IFAC code is the origin document for all other codes. So if you are a membership body of IFAC, which SAPA, SACA, and URBA are, those associations are bound to the IFAC code. Okay, but every accounting professional body needs to have a code of conduct, and every accounting professional's body that I've ever looked at the code of conduct pretty much uses the IFAC code as its base. Okay, so across all the various different professional bodies, codes of conduct that I've had the privilege to review or to work with or to analyze, they all have the same theme. They all have the same principles. They all have the same concepts. Some are written in a little bit more detail. Some are, a few pages long, but they still have the same message. Okay, they just say it more concisely than another code might. But the IFAC code really has the core of it. So we're going to base today's session on the IFAC code, and that way I'll be covering pretty much most of it. There might be more than your code particularly goes into detail with, but you can't go wrong by listening to what they say. Okay. As with my sessions always, please ask questions and talk to me. I always enjoy a bit of debate. I always enjoy a bit of conversation. I must say, having spent the last week in London doing live training, I remembered the excitement and energy and passion that can come from an audience and the conversation and discussions that happen. And I know that we usually have a very pretty similar close idea here, but it was lovely and very exciting to have that again. This is me. This is who I am. If you're wanting to know more about me, please feel free to read up. Yeah. 3 sections to today's session. So today's session I've broken up into 3 sessions. One is where the International Ethics Auditing Standards Board is. Okay. IFAC is the International Federation of Accountants. Below that is the Code of Conduct. Okay. which is really run and managed by the ethics board. Next to that is ISQM, or the quality management standards, ISQM 1 and ISQM 2. Below that are the ISAs and all the other standards. The ISAs and all those standards are run by the International Assurance and Auditing Standards Board, and this obviously is the ethics element of it. So they work all together under the umbrella of RFAC. But the code of conduct trumps everything. Okay, if you are an accountant, it should be there. So looking at the work plan that's been released, and this work plan was released around about July or so this year, to sort of say this is what the International Ethics Auditing Standards Board was thinking, what the way forward in ethics should be and the areas of focus that they needed to look at. Okay, so their theme of their work plan, their strategy and theme that they were putting together was elevating ethics in a dynamic and uncertain world. I think we can all pretty much agree that our crystal balls barely make it out the week as to what's going to happen, what's happening next. I mean, if you look at the UK at the moment, within 1 week, they changed Prime Minister and changed monarchs. Okay, the Prime Minister they saw happening. I don't think they saw the monarch happening. But, you know, they managed and they dealt with it. We do live in very dynamic and uncertain times at times. The key focus areas, professional skepticism. Okay, no matter what area of business you're in, professional skepticism is always going to have to play a role in the work that you do. We are the type of people that make very bad friends because, yes, we trust, but we verify. You tell me something and I want to see, you know, show me, or tell me, but show me. Our poor children and our partners and our family, you know, your child that comes up to you and says, "Mommy, I brushed my teeth," and you're going, "Let me sniff because I'm not so sure you did." So we are those people. We definitely have trust issues as well as control issues. I never know which one came first, being an accountant or becoming an accountant. But this idea of professional skepticism, that we always look at things with a bit of a jaundiced eye, we really have to hone that skill, okay? Because people are playing games all around us all the time, and we've got to be very careful about taking things at face value. They've changed the name of this because professional skepticism tends always to be an auditor or an assurance provider's term, okay, to the role and mindset expected of professional accountants. So they've broadened this and said, look, whether or not I'm in assurance or whether I'm drafting financials or whether I'm doing tax returns or whether I'm an FD, okay, if you're a professional accountant, in other words, you're a member of a professional accounting body, you have to exercise professional skepticism throughout the day, okay? When you're sitting in a board of directors meetings, you've got to be looking at the information and facts that are being presented with a jaundiced eye. When you are given a trial balance and supporting documents to draft financials, you've got to look at this and say, well, is that really a business expense or are you trying to pass through some personal expenses here? When you're doing tax returns and, you know, you're looking at these, this output VAT and you're going, looks a bit lower than it usually is. We have to continually just have that mindset and we've got to practice it and exercise it and, you know, be careful of becoming too familiar and becoming complacent in it. There are a lot of threats to professional skepticism at times. A big area of focus, and was probably the hot area, is non-assurance services and fees. Non-assurance services we'll talk about just now. In South Africa, the auditors don't really, this is sort of externally managed for us because of the Companies Act. But if you're doing, for example, independent reviews within your organization, you might need to pay attention to this. It really is that independence challenge as to when you are doing both the compilation and the review, when you're doing really where there's a potential you might have a conflict of interest, okay? You've got this potential of a self-interest threat where you might be, or self-review threat where you might be marking your own homework, or a self-interest threat. In other words, you know, you're getting really nice consulting work, but you're doing an independent review from the same client. That creates dilemmas and that creates challenges. And they really are focusing, at the moment, the first volley, as it were, in the space is, you know, you really, the split of assurance and non-assurance work. But I think they're going to start really focusing on the ethical challenges of non-assurance work. We've already seen one area that has risen to the surface quite a bit, And I know I was doing some work for tax faculty on it, on the tax practitioner code of conduct. Okay. And I might actually discuss that a bit more in professional citizenship.
I hope that you enjoyed that video. For more of our webinar videos, go to www.accountingacademy.co.za. Thank you and have a lovely day.